thoughts on that. So
Sounds good. We'll do it
for
15
another
minutes.
time.
Yeah.
Awesome, Alex. Well, thank you for joining. We have next Matt from ASIMOV Protocol. Matt, welcome back.
Hello, thank you. Share screen, just bring up my screen here.
And just for everyone who may not have, caught your background from last time, can you give everyone just a quick overview about who you are, what is ASIMOV Protocol, and what you shipped last week?
Sure, definitely. So, hi folks, my name's Matt. I'm working with ASIMOV Protocol. I'm the head of developer relations there. So what is ASIMOV Protocol? ASIMOV Protocol is a decentralized marketplace for verified knowledge, right? So one of the big things with AI is that it needs to have information, fed into it, right? And it needs to be able to access information. So Alex just showed you a really good example there of using MCP and calling out, using an MCP tool to call out and get data from the near blockchain. We're going to be doing something very similar, and one of our beachhead use cases is using MCP to allow the same sort of pattern, Claude Code and tools like that, to be able to access out to get factual information. So there you could see Alex was interacting and using MCP, it was able to use the Near AI MCP tool to get data about the Near blockchain. With ASIMOV Protocol, you'll be able to interact with the ASIMOV MCP tool to get data about factual information, right? What is the capital of the UK, or who won the 1996 World Cup, scored the goal, whatever. That kind of information there. You will get back information that has been verified by a number of sources and have the provenance of that information, right? Many of you may have experienced the case where you ask an LLM something and it comes back with an answer. You then have to verify that yourself, right? And make sure that it is actually correct. So that is what we're working on, that problem of the provenance and the quality of the data that you get back. So we're going to be using the Near blockchain and probably some other blockchains as well to store some of that provenance information. And also we'll have a decentralized marketplace where different actors on there can supply data, can verify data, etc. So that's a little bit about what we do. What have we done in the last week? So mainly it's been a lot of incremental releases here. So one of the main things is the ASIMOV CLI, and specifically the ASIMOV dataset CLI. This is the part of the CLI that allows you to actually upload data to the Near blockchain, right? So you can take data in knowledge graph data, RDF data. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, and upload it to the Near blockchain. So a couple of improvements we've put in. We previously were using the system keychain, but we can now also use an environment variable as well for your private key if you don't have the system keychain set up, or don't want to use a system keychain or whatever. We've done a bunch of other little tweaks here and there, and a few other sort of minor releases. A lot of these are in sort of private repos we've been working on, so they're not yet released here, but the dataset CLI is the most prominent one. And you can also get it directly, install it via Cargo on here as well, or you can actually install it via Homebrew and a number of other installation methods depending upon your operating system. So that's a little bit about getting data into the system. Now, as well as that, we've been working on how you actually visualize it and represent that data. Last week, I showed you a widget that we'd created that was a geographic map widget, and we were showing some geographic data. Today, I'm going to show you a timeline widget that we have that allows you to show data in a timeline. So here we have, well, let me show you the example here. Looking at the code here, we're getting data from the Wikidata RDF server, and we're asking, we want movies with Bud Spencer, and we have a Sparkle query here that allows us to query that. So what is Sparkle? What is RDF? They are ways of representing and querying knowledge graphs, and those will start to become apparent in a minute here. But this is the result of that. So what we have here is a timeline showing when each of those films that particular actor, Bud Spencer, was in, was released, right? So that's just one of the ways in which you can represent data on here. So last time I showed you a geographic map. We also have a like a node graph representation we're working on, and this is a timeline one. Okay, so that's great. That's taking stuff from Wikidata. But if you were here last week, you may remember I showed you some stuff that we were experimenting with about taking raw textual data and converting that into a knowledge graph. So that was taking data like the transcript of what did you ship. So this is the transcript from last week of everything that was talked about in this session a week ago, and converted it into a knowledge graph. We've got some tooling, and using LLMs, we can actually convert it into a knowledge graph. So what you're looking at here is RDF data that describes information in a graph format, a relationship format. The best way to see what I mean by this is by if we actually visualize this here. So taking that and putting that into converting it into mermaid format, which is a diagram format, we actually have a graph here, right? So this graph is of all the concepts that were talked about last week. So what did you ship this week? Projects. So there were various projects: Vera, ASIMOV, Public AI. What did we ship? What were the concepts we were talking about? What are the cross-cutting ecosystem concepts here? So all of this has been pulled out of the transcript. So we've gone from data to knowledge. And then, like I said, the next step is to take this knowledge and put it forward into an LLM. But like I said, we can actually take the data that we had there, and we can display it in like the widget that I just showed you here. So taking this widget, I can actually just alter it. And if I start referencing a local RDF server that I have here and change the query here, I can actually take a query. So here is a query. I can take that and put that in instead. If we put that query in here, we should get the demo gods being with me. There we go. This is a query asking when were the various projects mentioned in the call last week. So again, we're using the timeline format here to talk about, to show when the different things were mentioned. Well, that's all great, but let's take this a step further. Rather than just talking about the names of protocols and projects, because those are easy to kind of pull out, let's look a little bit more semantically. Let's talk about concepts. When were concepts mentioned in the call? So again, I have a query here, and I can take this query and I can copy this and put it in here instead. And if I change this query and save that, then we should get, boom, concepts. There we go. So this is, like I said, this is, live. And you can see the actual concepts and when things were mentioned during the call. Oops, zooming in and out here. During the call. So we can see here we started off, Cameron was obviously talking about the near ecosystem. Then we had the full public AI. We were talking about various other bits and pieces, LLM hallucination, decentralized knowledge marketplace. That's us at ASIMOV. And then all the other projects going along and the different concepts they were talking about. So there we go. That's a quick rundown of some of the stuff that we shipped. One final thing just to leave you with, not so much something we shipped, but something, some pretty cool news. We were accepted out of nearly 300 teams on to the Delphi Labs Cyber Fund DAGI Accelerator Program. So out of 300 teams, 8 made the shortlist. We were one of them. We started yesterday in this 8-week accelerator. So that's really cool. And if you want to find out more about us or follow us along, ASIMOV_protocol on Twitter, you can find us there as well. And there's links to our Discord and Telegram too.
Matt, you're champion. Congratulations on the accelerator acceptance. This is super exciting.
Yeah.
We'll love to have you back as always. Also, we'll be using that transcript finder thing because it's actually helpful.
It's been awesome. I've been going through it and using it on calls and stuff like that, and it's been really, really cool. Last time I actually tried to do a live capture of this call as it was going on, and unfortunately there was a couple of bugs in it that caused it to cut out. But I'm going to get that going so we can actually have it live on the call, actually building a knowledge graph in real time, because that's pretty cool.
Well, I know I will use that near week. I'm almost certain will as well. But we do need to move on to the next speaker, Matt.